These are 9 habits that allow me to become my best self. A habit is something you do every single day without thinking about it. Now, behavior is something that you have to consciously think about until it turns into a habit. All of these habits I'm going to share with you today were once behaviors in my life. But when I was practicing them, I was thinking better, I was feeling better, and I was behaving in line with the best version of me. So I was determined to make all of these behaviors habits. First habit is meditation. See what I've done there? I pretended I was meditating. Meditation is something that I struggled with for years because I always thought meditation was about not thinking. And if I get anyone to try and not think, it's not possible. If I say don't think about a pink elephant, you think about a pink elephant. That's not the case with meditation. Meditation is a practice that you do that allows you to be an observer of your thoughts. So instead of trying to not think, it's just not judging the thoughts that come into your head. And I'm a very overactive thinker. I'm always thinking, and in the past I'd get trapped in these negative thought patterns every single day and they'd consume me. But what meditation done was allow me to become the observer of my thoughts. Instead of letting them control me, I can observe them without reacting, analyzing, or judging them. And the more I found myself meditating, the more meditation I felt like I was doing during the day. So anytime I got any of these, intrusive thoughts that come in my mind or these negative thoughts, I could just view them rather than getting sucked into them. What's really helped me is doing 2 20-minute sessions a day. And I do transcendental meditation. It's basically just sitting there, repeating a mantra to yourself over and over and over again. And anytime your mind tries to drift, you repeat the mantra and you pull it back into focus. By practicing this meditation, it's made me be more aware, more intuitive. It's given me more energy. It's allowed me to connect deeply with myself, make me feel more grateful and understand myself even more. It's one of the most effective habits that I've ever implemented in my life. Now, 20 minutes or 40 minutes that I do now sounds like a lot. But to begin with, just start with 5 minutes. When I first started doing this, it was hard for me to get in, but I realized it was just my mind trying to pull me off. But the more I practiced it, the more patient I become, the more aware I come, the better my overall life has been. The next one is studying, or you can say reading books, because it started for reading books with me. Reading books changed my life. Before the age of 26, I never read a book in my life, and I always felt like I was stupid or I could never read, but I give it a good shot, and it was one of the first things that allowed me to change my life. Now, I read so many different books, and by reading these books, they helped me understand myself. They allowed me to get educated. They allowed me to improve my relationships, build better habits, gain more self-awareness. Reading books completely changed my life. But then it got to a point where I was reading so many different books, taking on all of this knowledge, but not applying it. And knowledge isn't power, applied knowledge is power. So I started to study. I started actually dissecting all of the books that I was reading or getting onto a course, taking everything out of it, really understanding it, but then most importantly, applying it to my life. Now, if you want to improve any area of your life, read or study. You want to get healthier and fitter, read a book about it. You want to become a better runner, read a book about it. You want to improve your sales, read a book about it. You want to improve marketing, read a book or study a course on it. Every single day I study for at least 1 hour, but if you're someone that's not reading or not studying, just do something small. Read 10 pages a day or do half an hour a day. It is life-changing. Habit 3 is reading my purpose. Now, you won't be able to see this, but my app coming out, I've actually got exactly how you can build your own purpose and create your own statement. But mine says here, I am a present and loving partner and dad and a man of God. I inspire others by living my truth and becoming my best self. I lead, teach, write and speak to help people create purpose, transform their mind and become the best version of themselves. I've built generational wealth for my family and the #1 personal development brand in the world that has contributed to 1 billion lives in all countries combined. I'm here to be the most influential person to people in their 20s and be the person I never had, because I know what it feels like to suffer, to feel lost, to be off purpose and trapped in cycles that don't serve you. Each day I practice patience, control, gratitude, and I trust myself in the process I'm on. That articulates who I want to be in life, what goals I want to achieve, the life I want to live, and the deep, meaningful reasons why I have to show up every single day. And just this here is a vision board of all of the things that I want to do and who I want to be. Now, having purpose in my life saved my life, and it is the number one thing that holds me accountable every single day. It gives me a reason to show up. It gives me clarity. It gives me direction. And anytime I'm struggling or I'm going through a hard time or I need a reason, this is it. And this is a reminder and a prompt every single day to show up as the best version of me. It's probably my most important thing that I've got in my life. And since putting it in my life, has held me accountable every single day. If you lack purpose right now, underneath you can download the exact purpose framework and statement that I use that I've put into my app. The app's not out yet, but when it is, you'll be able to put it in there too. Number 4, and this is absolutely key, is planning. Before I go into every week or every day, I have non-negotiable blocks of time scheduled out for everything that I want to stay on top of in my life. A lot of people struggle with balance, but it's not because they've got too many responsibilities, it's just they lack a clear structure. So I don't let my week turn into chaos, I have it with clarity. If you look at my calendar, it will have when I'm doing my work stuff, when I'm training, when I'm spending time with my daughter, when I'm spending time with my partner going on a date night, when I'm seeing friends, when I'm seeing family, when I'm doing stuff for myself. I don't let no day pass me by without specific blocks of actions that are aligned with my purpose, my goals, my weekly to-dos, and the things that I value in life. By having this in place, it keeps me calm, it keeps me in control, it keeps me structured and aligned to the best version of me. If you don't plan or you're not sure on how to plan, underneath I'll put a free masterclass that I've done on exactly how to plan your week. It is absolutely a game changer. Number 5, and this is just as important as the planning aspect of it, is reviewing. Before I plan my weeks or my days, I always do a weekly review. I always ask myself, what wins did I gain this week? By understanding this, I can recognize myself for the progress. I ask myself, what lessons am I learning? Anything that's going to allow me to build self-awareness. Then I ask myself, how can I improve? So then I know exactly where I need to improve going into the following day or week. This takes no longer than an hour every single week, but it gives me clarity, it builds self-awareness, it allows me to improve my mental well-being, and it keeps me on track with my goals, my values, and the things that I must do and show up within life. It's one of the most important habits that I have in my life, especially because how much it helps me understand myself. Number 6 is asking empowering questions. The quality of your life will be determined by the quality of questions you ask yourself. That's why every morning I ask myself 3 questions. What am I grateful for? What am I proud of? And what must I do today? And then every evening, I write down what 3 wins did I get today, what am I grateful for, and how can I improve tomorrow, which will be coming on the app when it comes, and you can get involved in them. But why do I ask these questions? Everything we do on a day-to-day basis is asking a question. How do I feel? What do I need to do today? What should I eat? I'm thirsty. What should I have to drink? What should I do this weekend? Everything we do is ask a question, but a lot of people are asking themselves disempowering questions, right? Why do I feel this way? Why is my life like this? Instead of asking yourself why, ask yourself how or what, or use questions that direct your thinking for a better quality of life. Because if you ask yourself better quality questions, you get better answers, and then you can take better actions to move closer to the version of you that you want to be. I know you ain't got the app, but you can ask yourself some questions right now. Start asking yourself some morning questions and evening questions to direct your focus and your thinking. Number 7 is positive self-talk. This is absolutely key. There was a time in my life where I was up at 5 o'clock, having a cold shower, meditating, journaling, training hard, working hard. I was sober, I was changing lives, but I kept burning myself out. I could not figure out what it was until I realized it was the way that I spoke to myself. Behind every positive action, there was a little voice. You can do better. You should, not even you could be doing better. You should be doing better. That wasn't good enough. You need to improve that. Or you could work harder there. You need to stay up later. So anything that I'd done was never good enough. It didn't matter what action I took or what achievement, there was always a negative internal voice until I shifted it. Instead of listening to that negative, disempowering voice, I started going against it. So every time that I started doing something good for myself, I would say, well done, that's like me. If I've done a hard training session, good work, that's who you are, you sharp on them hard days. And by praising and recognizing myself, I built my confidence. I started to believe in myself more. I stopped feeling like an imposter in certain things because my confidence and belief was rising. My overall psychology, my overall mental well-being just massively improved. And that's what I advise you to do too. Every time you do something positive for yourself, praise and recognize yourself for it. Not even on the big wins. It doesn't always have to be on the big ones, on the small ones, on the things you didn't want to do, or even if you know that you're going to do them, recognize yourself for them anyway. Be your own coach is what I say. If you be your own coach, you'll be your best friend, you will get better results in life. But not only better results, you'll feel better about all of the things that you're doing. That's all I can do. Number 8 is exercise. Now this one might seem pretty obvious, but I exercise or train 6 days a week. I like to have a little rest on a Sunday, but 6 days a week I'm either running, strength training, or currently doing Muay Thai. But I've always got it in my schedule because that's the time for myself. It builds my confidence, it gives me energy, and it makes me show up as a better leader, a better dad, a better partner, and better in all aspects of my life. Now a lot of people say that they value health, but they always push themselves aside. And I know that if I push my health aside, I don't give myself this time or this space to train for me, I don't show up as the best version of me. So if you're not exercising right now, make sure that you lock in, even if it's 30 minutes a day, because it's going to improve your performance, it's going to give you more energy, it's going to make you feel better in all aspects of your life. Number 9 is not snoozing. You snooze, you lose. And I'm saying this because I was a fucking snoozer all of my life. I had about 10 alarms and I would always fucking snooze them. But I am very big, as I mentioned earlier with the planning, on keeping my word. When I say I'm gonna do something, I do it. Because if I do it, that builds confidence, that builds my self-trust, that makes me feel more disciplined. I build more consistency. By keeping my word, I build habits, I can stick to my structure. It gives me everything. So the first promise of the day is the time I'm gonna get up. So I make sure that I don't hit that snooze and I keep that promise. By doing that, I can then go into the next thing. Because if I say I'm getting up at 4 and I'm meditating from 10 past 4 to half 4 and I'm going gym for 5 o'clock, if I snooze, I'm probably not gonna meditate, or I'm gonna rush to the gym, and the rest of the day is gonna be on a downward effect. It's like a domino, right? The first one, if you clip it, everything else that comes into place after is going to be positive. Now, if I start off on a negative and a bad note, everything else that follows, to me, is going to be that. So no snoozing for me is absolutely key. Or it's not even just no snoozing, just early mornings, because I can then do stuff before anyone else is awake. And that allows me to feel in control. That allows me to feel empowered. I feel like I'm moving closer to the best version of me. And just some advice on habits. There's a couple of things that throw a few people off, right? Number 1, they don't allow themselves to make these behaviors a habit. So they practice it for a couple of days and then they fall off. They might try for a week and then they fall off. And there's no specific number, meaning some people say it's 21 days, some people say it's 66 days. It's not, it's just how frequent you practice it. So when it comes to these habits that you're trying to build, just keep sticking to them as much as possible. If you fall down one day, get back up on the next day, because you want to prove to yourself that you are the person that does these things. And that leads into number 2. That's so important, because if you're proving it to yourself, it becomes a part of your identity. And when it becomes a part of your identity, sticking to these things become automatic. I see myself as a runner, so running naturally becomes easier for me. I see myself as someone that learns and grows and wants to study and is educated, so I stick to studying, learning, growing and educating myself. That shifts your identity. And the third thing is, don't do too many things at once. As I've mentioned, there are 9 habits in here. Now, these 9 habits, I've not come out the starting block and tried sticking to all of these things. These were all once behaviors. But over the years, I've figured out what ones really work for me and done my best to uphold these. But some of these just come at different stages. I didn't work on all of these at the same time. Just pick 1 or 2 habits that you want to stay on top of. Prove to yourself you can do them. Make them a part of who you are, and then once they become automatic, then you can move on to the next one.